So until there's an education deal, there won't be a budget deal, and that's concerning for both the majority party and Democrats. Taelyr Jackson joins us now with more on that. Taylor.
That's right, Rich. With less than 14 days left in the legislative session, Democrat leaders say they haven't been included in negotiations to reach a budget deal that's expected to total more than $9 billion.
I don't know if we'll have a budget tomorrow, and that's concerning.
Nothing is expected to be moved in the House or the Senate until the education budget has been solidified. The disagreement between the two chambers is primarily because of tax credits.
What they both have in common is, and what we elevated and critiqued, was that there isn't any type of accountability. That's the problem with these types of voucher schemes, is that you don't have the same type of government oversight or oversight that we usually provide any type of agency.
Close the roll.
House Bill 1934 creates the Oklahoma Parental Choice Tax Credit Act and establishes a tiered system of tax credits for parents or guardians who send their children to private school or choose to homeschool them. Members of the House want to ensure that rural schools will benefit from the education package, and the Senate has remained adamant on increased teacher pay and funding for public schools. On Monday, Governor Kevin Stitt met with Senate Pro Tem Greg Treat and House Speaker Charles McCall to discuss the education budget. Thursday, Governor Stitt said a deal could be announced soon.
We got kind of the bones of a framework, and now the Speaker and the Pro Tem have their education chairs kind of fine-tuning and getting the last little details, and we should be able to start working on drawing up that legislation. And because, as you know, I mean, they need to get this stuff filed probably by Monday morning.
Later that same evening, Senate Pro Tem Greg Treat said negotiations had hit another snag.
They had a 2-hour meeting that resulted in an agreement between the negotiators, at least. Unfortunately, the House has come back today and wants to do some modifications to that agreement.
Senate Democrat leader Kay Floyd says the impasse over education funding has called the legislature to fall behind in introducing the state budget for review.
We cannot govern in this state if we don't know how much money we're going to have to govern.
As Oklahoma continues to experience a major teacher shortage, one of the main goals at the Capitol has been teacher recruitment.
This has been such a difficult year. There has been so much disruption during this year, and it's not because of COVID, it's not because of being out of school, it's because of lack of personnel.
Some lawmakers and educators are concerned that the education impasse and remarks made by Superintendent Ryan Walters may have a negative effect on teacher retention and recruitment.
Teachers want to know that they have support in their school families, their school communities. They want to know that they have support from their state leaders. And what they're seeing is that they do not have the support from their state leaders.
Our teachers and our support professionals, our administrators are stretched to beyond belief. And to hear the political rhetoric that has continued to happen, it's a knife in your heart for many of them. You know, you can try to block it out, but after a while, it really, that is the profession that you love, and you would hope, and you would need, what we need are people lifting our educators up.
Floyd adds other states introduced their budget at the beginning of the session, allowing more time for their legislators to work with the state budget.
Now, we've got big issues in this state, and we need to know how much money we have. Let's take health care. It's a huge issue. We are #1 in the country for death by heart disease, #1. We have a maternal mortality rate that's 24% for every 100,000 live births. That makes us 11th in the nation.
Democratic leaders say there has been a lack of transparency when it comes to preparing the budget.
And it is incumbent upon us as elected leaders who represent millions of Oklahomans across the state to hear from all sides, regardless of whether or not we agree on everything. We still need to hear everyone's viewpoints. And what we're seeing happen right now with the gridlock and the stalemate that's happening over the education discussion is that every other piece of the budget and all things that Oklahomans care about are held hostage.
But House Appropriation and Budget Chairman Kevin Wallace says they have been transparent during the budget process in a statement that read in part. Each year, every member of the legislature has access to agency budget requests beginning October 1st. Every House member is assigned to an Appropriations and Budget Subcommittee. These meet annually in public meetings with multiple state agencies, boards, or commissions that receive state funding that fall under their purview. Time for questions and debate is given when we we hear this legislation. We also give regular updates throughout the year on how much funding is available and make our priorities widely known. This all leads to an incredibly transparent budget process, giving ample time for members of the legislature and the public to hear information on how state dollars are appropriated and expended.
Governor Stitt says he expects negotiations to continue over the weekend, and he hopes an agreement will be made sometime next week.